girl named Emma lives in an orphanage called Gracefield. This orphanage houses many children, most of whom are around 6 years old up to teenagers like Emma. Emma has 2 friends her age named Norman and Ray, and they have grown up together since they were babies. All the facilities are already provided at this orphanage, from food, education, to a large playground. All of that is thanks to a kind and humble woman named Isabella, the caretaker of the orphanage. The children call her Mama, as they already consider her their mother. However, there's one rule that children must not break. They are not allowed to go outside the fenced area of the orphanage. They do not know what lies beyond it, only that it is said to be dangerous. Besides that, the children do not stay at the orphanage forever, because one by one, the children leave to be adopted by foster parents when the time comes. Now, Emma, Norman, and Ray are 15 years old, and when they turn 16, they're scheduled to leave the orphanage to meet their adoptive parents. One day, a girl named Connie reaches her time to be adopted. After she goes to a place called the Gate, Emma and Norman see that Connie leaves behind her beloved stuffed toy. They want to return it to her at the Gate. At first, they know that going to the Gate is forbidden, but they finally decide to go, thinking the toy must be important to Connie. When they arrive, Emma and Norman walk carefully because the place looks creepy and silent. There, they see a truck, so they check it, and to their shock, they find Connie has died with a rose stabbed in her chest. Not long after, they hear someone talking, so they hide under the truck, thinking people are coming. But it's not people. It's 2 demon monsters who arrive at the truck to retrieve Connie's corpse. The demons comment that the human meat produced in this orphanage is of the highest quality as they load her body into a capsule. Emma and Norman are even more shocked when they see that their own mama works together with the demons. At that moment, one demon in a black cloak says he is bored of getting meat from 6-year-old children and wants better quality meat. So, they decide to request the 3 best children: Emma, Norman, and Ray. Then, the demons smell something delicious and check under the truck, but Emma and Norman have already escaped. As they run, Emma cannot believe their mama could be this evil. She cries, realizing that the children are actually being delivered to demons. When Norman says they can escape, Emma refuses to leave the other kids behind and insists they must save them too. Norman agrees, and they both return to the orphanage. There, they meet Ray, who has been waiting, but he does not get a clear answer from them. Eventually, they reveal the truth, that this place is not an orphanage, but a farm to raise children as food for demons. Even so, Emma and Norman try their best to act normal so that Mama won't suspect them. They also realize the fence outside is not to protect them, but to trap them and make the children live in fear. Norman notices the numbers on their necks, which every child has, and realizes they're only livestock, tracked and recorded by Mama. This helps Emma understand why none of the children who have left ever sent letters back, because they are all already gone. Emma becomes angry, and Norman becomes curious about what lies beyond the fence. So they go beyond it for the first time. Behind the fence, they find a tall, thick wall, and Emma thinks they can climb it using a rope. Norman suggests they tell no one about Connie to avoid unwanted consequences. After hearing the bell ring, a signal that something has happened, they return to the orphanage. In a field, a girl reports that her friend is missing. Mama checks the area using a compass-like device, which Emma and Norman suspect can track missing children. Soon, Mama finds the missing child in the forest, which makes Emma and Norman believe Mama already knows they went to the Gate. Emma suspects they have tracking devices, with a bump in their ears making them hard to remove. When Emma feels sad again after looking at Connie's drawing, Mama appears suddenly and surprises her. Emma lies, saying she remembers Connie, saying she wanted to become a mama like Isabella. Hearing that, Mama's eyes widen, and she asks whether Emma went to the Gate yesterday. Emma lies and says no. Outside the orphanage, Emma and Norman have already prepared a rope and hidden it on top of a tree to use when the time comes. Soon after, Ray arrives and notices Emma and Norman have been acting strange since returning from the Gate. He suspects they are hiding something. So, Emma and Norman finally tell him the truth about the orphanage. Ray then suggests that the 3 of them escape without involving the others. But even if they succeed in escaping, he says the world outside is already controlled by demons, so humans cannot survive anywhere, especially if Emma wants to bring the other kids too. Emma rejects this idea and declares she wants to create a new world where humans can live freely. They argue about it, but after seeing how determined Emma is, Ray changes his mind. The 3 of them begin planning their escape, starting with understanding their enemies. They guess that the demons are after brains, and the smarter the brain, the better the taste. That's why Mama makes all the kids study, to make their brains more delicious. After discussing this, Mama calls all the children to gather and welcome a new sister named Crone, who will assist Mama. This makes the situation harder for Emma and her friends, especially since Crone looks even more suspicious than Mama. Emma then thinks of a plan to train the younger kids to run and think better. She comes up with the idea to play tag, so the children can exercise and learn how to think while having fun. Meanwhile, in Mama's office, Crone asks why she's called to the orphanage. Mama replies that Emma and Norman already know the secret. She found Connie's doll under the truck, but she chooses to wait and observe them until their scheduled shipment. She orders Crone to watch them as well. The next day, the tag game begins, and while the kids play, Emma and her two friends teach the younger ones how to think and move better. Unfortunately, Crone interrupts the game and starts chasing the children to scare them, making them run in panic. After the game, Norman notices that both Mama and Crone seem relaxed, even after their secret has been discovered. He wonders why they still do nothing to stop them. Because of this, Norman suspects that there is a spy, one of the younger children, who watches them and reports to Mama. That way, if Emma and the others try to escape, the spy can immediately alert Mama. To prevent that, they decide to tell the truth about the orphanage to two other teenagers like them, Dawn and Gilda, who are strong enough to handle the truth and can help with their escape plan. After Dawn and Gilda believe them, Emma asks when they should tell the rest of the children. Norman answers that they should not do it yet, because he thinks they need to find out who the spy is first. He already tells the two teens where they hide the rope, but gives them two different locations. He tells Dawn that the rope is hidden under Norman's bed, and tells Gilda that it is in the attic. So if one rope disappears, they will know who the spy is. That night, after everyone falls asleep, Dawn and Gilda seem to move quietly, as if planning to retrieve the rope. One of them even slips a piece of paper to Mama through the door gap, revealing that Norman hides the rope under his bed. The next morning, they gather to discuss the missing rope, and it seems obvious that Dawn is the spy. But Norman says no, and then he reveals that Ray is actually the real spy. In truth, Norman has told Dawn a different hiding place, so when Ray hears that the rope is under Norman's bed and tries to take it secretly, the trap is triggered, a trap designed not just for Dawn and Gilda, but for Ray as well. As a result, Ray is exposed and admits that he is Mama's spy. A long time ago, when he was still a child, he offered himself to become a spy because he already knew the secret of the orphanage. He made a deal with Mama. In exchange for spying, he asked for his shipment to be delayed and requested materials to secretly build a device to destroy the trackers. Even so, Emma and Norman see that the rope is still in the tree, which means Ray does not give away its real location, proving he also has plans to escape. Ray confirms this, saying that delaying his shipment gives him time to find a way out. Hearing that they share the same goal, Emma and Norman cheer him on so that the three of them can escape this horrible place together. The next day, Emma and the others plan to climb the wall to see what lies beyond it. But their conversation is interrupted by Crone, who suddenly appears. However, she says she will not report them to Mama. Instead, she offers to work together, showing the number tattooed on her neck as proof. She then shows her surgery scar and reveals that she also has a tracker inside her body. If she takes one step outside the orphanage, the electricity will stop her heart. If Emma and the others manage to escape, Mama will be fired from the orphanage, and Crone's secret goal to become the next Mama will succeed. Dawn then asks where Crone comes from. She answers that she comes from another orphanage, proving that Gracefield is not the only orphanage. To explain further, Crone invites them to her room and lets them ask anything they want. They ask her what the outside world is like. Crone answers that she has never seen herself, but she knows that humans do exist out there. A long time ago, there was a war between humans and demons. Because both sides were tired of fighting, they created a pact to live in separate worlds. The demons would not hunt humans, and humans would not kill demons. However, some humans were left behind in the demon world and became livestock, raised as meat, one of which is this orphanage. Crone thinks the kids will be shocked by this truth, but when she sees that their expressions remain calm, she starts to suspect that they already know. She strongly believes they're building a device to destroy the trackers. So, Crone starts to form an evil plan. She wants to report everything to the demons herself. That way, all 5 teenagers will be sent to the demons immediately, and Isabella will lose her position as a failed Mama. The next day, during the free time, Crone starts searching for the tracker-destroyer device. She checks the bedrooms, then the attic. But Emma and the others already anticipate this and try their best to hide the device so Crone won't find it. Unfortunately, she still manages to find it inside a stuffed animal pillow. Just as Crone reaches for the device, Mama arrives and hands her a letter. The content shocks Crone. It is a letter of termination. Mama says that one of their higher-ups, called Grandmother, is already waiting for her at the gate. This means that Mama already knows about Crone's hidden agenda, and now her plan has failed. At the gate, Crone meets the grandmother, who says she also hears about Crone's ambitions for Mama. So she summons a demon to take care of her. And finally, Crone turned into meat by the demon. Sometime later, Emma and Norman go to check what lies beyond the wall. Meanwhile, Ray distracts Mama by staying inside the orphanage, helped by Don and Gilda, who assist in monitoring Mama. Unfortunately, Mama already knows that Ray is not a true spy. After she successfully gets rid of Crone, she takes full control and locks Ray inside a room. Mama then goes after Emma and Norman, who have reached the wall. But before they can use the rope, Mama arrives and her personality shifts into a psychotic state. With no other option, Emma tries to hold Mama back, giving Norman a chance to escape using the rope. But then he hears Emma scream in pain. It turns out Mama breaks Emma's leg, and finally, she screams as loud as she can. Mama then tells Emma to say goodbye to the friend who will be sent to the demons tomorrow, Norman, who is now in danger. After Emma's leg gets treated, she and Ray suggest that Norman uses free time to escape before he is taken by the demons. That way, he can send help from the outside world. Ray gives him the tracker-destroyer to attach to his ear, so Mama can't trace him. The next morning, Norman begins his escape and successfully climbs the wall. When he reaches the top, he sees something shocking and becomes completely silent. Meanwhile, Mama gathers all the children and notices Norman is missing. She checks her compass, but luckily, she doesn't need to chase him, because Norman decides to come back to the orphanage. As a result, their plan fails again. But Norman gives a reason. He says that he sees a cliff behind the wall, too wide to jump across. So instead, he follows the wall and finds a bridge that can be crossed. After returning the tracker-destroyer, Norman says there is no time left for him to run, so he chooses to accept his fate and be taken to the demons. After saying his goodbyes, Norman is escorted by Mama to the gate, where he meets a man in a gray suit. The man introduces himself as a supervisor who monitors the balance between the demon world and the human world and ensures everything runs smoothly. Finally, the time comes for Norman to be taken by the demon, but he still believes there is hope that the world can change for humans. Back at the orphanage, Emma and Ray start to feel hopeless about escaping after losing Norman, which makes Mama very pleased. 2 months later, Emma's leg has healed, and she realizes from the calendar that Ray's shipment is approaching soon. She walks to the dining room, where she meets Ray to talk about his upcoming shipment. Ray asks if Emma has already given up, but she answers that she hasn't, and neither has he. This rekindles their motivation to escape, and they reveal that they have actually spent the last 2 months preparing an escape plan with all the children, without speaking to each other directly, and assigning Gilda and Don to prepare all the supplies. Emma plans to start the escape tomorrow at noon, but Ray points out that it's too easy to get caught during the day. He says he has a better idea. He will burn the house down tonight, along with his own body. This shocks Emma, but Ray says he wants to do this so he won't be eaten by the demons, and to give their friend a chance to escape. He then drops his lit matchstick, and the orphanage catches fire. As a result, the fire alarm rings, and Mama rushes to the dining room and orders all the children to evacuate. While Mama focuses on putting out the fire, she tells Emma to get out too, but Mama becomes confused when she realizes Emma is already gone. Emma is seen gathering all the children to escape, and Ray is also there, thanks to Emma stopping Ray's hand before he dropped the matchstick. Emma explains that she also has a plan for Ray, thanks to Norman, who left behind a note hidden under Emma's bed when she was still limping and before he was taken by the demons. Back then, when Norman was taken to the attic by Ray, he noticed the gasoline tank Ray had hidden and suspected Ray's plan to burn himself. So he told Emma to prepare new clothes for Ray and to forcefully remove his tracker using a small knife. So the source of the fire wasn't Ray's body, it was his gasoline-soaked clothes. But there's one flaw in their escape plan. They can't take the children under 4 years old like the little one here. That's why Emma and the others promise to come back later to rescue them before they are taken by the demons. After Mama reports the escape and tells them to seal the bridge, The alarms go off all around the area as Emma and the others reach the top of the wall. Ray panics, thinking the bridge is too far. But Emma says it's okay. They're not planning to cross the bridge. Instead, they're going to reach the cliff across from them, which isn't too far, by setting up a flying fox zipline system. Once again, this is Norman's plan, as he suspected the demons would assume they would run across the bridge. So, using that time, they secure the rope to a tree across the cliff. Then, using clothes hangers, they begin to slide across the canyon, one by one. Right when it's Emma's turn to cross, Mama arrives, now knowing exactly where they are. She says she has once stood in the same spot when she was Emma's age. Back then, she had also tried to escape with the boy she loved, but they had to give up after realizing there was no way out. That boy was later taken by the demons on his 16th birthday. Since then, Mama decided to live forever inside the orphanage, with the dream of becoming the best mother to the children. She insists that there is no place out there for Emma and the others to live. But Emma believes she can create a new world with her friends. Mama threatens to cut the rope if Emma crosses, but Emma surprises her by saying, "Go ahead, cut it." She says that, deep down, Mama is a kind person and truly a loving mother who wants her children to grow up and escape this cruel world on their own effort. Now it's time for Emma to cross. Just as she does, Mama prepares to cut the rope, but she can't bring herself to do it. She can't stand the thought of killing her own child with her own hands. In the end, she lets them go, and finally, Emma and the others successfully escape from the demon's farm. Since Mama has failed to manage her plantation, she says she is ready to face her punishment, and finally, she willingly offers herself to become demon food. After reaching a hilltop with a breathtaking view, Emma and her friends realize that they are finally in the outside world, greeted by the warm rays of the sun. The Promised Neverland movie ends with a child asking Emma what she sees, and finally, I don't know what she says because the movie has no sound during that moment. If you know how to read lips in Japanese, let me know in the comments, guys. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notification so you don't miss the latest recaps. Thanks for watching and wish you good health.